I met you by the cattle guard when the dusk was pouring wine. A ribbon of pink over wheat straw fields, a July county line. You smiled like a windmill creaks, slow, honest, weather worn. Said love was a thistle bloom tough, enough to take a thorn. Your daddy ran a fence line that stitched the prairie tide. Your mama kept the hymns in jars like peaches put upright. I came in with a troubadour's hat and a heart that wouldn't mind if loving you cut up my hands a barbed wire Valentine. I took the night shift stacking hay, you brought me lemonade. We talked about the rodeo where faith can be remade. You said I ain't afraid of hurt, I just need someone who will stay. I said, darling, I'm a prayer that's still learning how to pray. We carved our names in cedar posts, the moon a nickel dime. Your lips were church bell cinnamon, my doubts were out of time. You laughed, boy, you ain't gentle, but you might be by design. So I bled a little promise, a barbed wire Valentine. Barbed wire Valentine, hold me like a fence holds ground. Twist me to the weather, keep the stray dogs out. If love's a field that storms will cross, baby, draw that line. I'll be leaning into lightning, your barbed wire Valentine. July broke into August, and the pasture turned to brass. We danced behind the grain trucks while the locusts sang in mass. Your brother tuned the fiddle, I hammered out the time. Boot heels on a cattle grade, our laughter out of rhyme. But whispers travel faster than a prairie fire at night. They said I had a rambling soul that couldn't treat you right. You held my face like scripture, said truth beats any shine. Prove you're not a postcard boy, my barbed wire Valentine. So I sold my old guitar to patch your granddad's barn. Learned to read the weather signs and oil a combine arm. You taught me how the heart mends, like a fence you keep a line. A twist, a knot, a little give, forgiveness by design. We fought about the county fair when I missed the bacon booth. I swore I'd win a plush bear, you just asked me for the truth. I walked you past the midway lights and kissed you by the pines. Said I'm here for drought or thunder, your barbed wire Valentine. Barbed wire Valentine, hold me like a fence holds ground. Twist me to the weather, keep the stray dogs out. If love's a field that storms will cross, baby, draw that line. I'll be leaning into lightning, your barbed wire Valentine. And when the winter lays its knives across the prairie wide, we'll mend the cuts with mittened hands and kerosene inside. If I get snagged on old regrets, on posts from other times, you'll bandage me with morning light and salt the wound with rhymes. I'll learn to be the patient kind, the stay and listen kind. I'll stitch my name to yours with wire that keeps it shine. like a fence holds ground. Twist me to the weather, keep the coyotes out. If love's a field the world will cross, baby, draw that line. We'll be thunder safe together. Your barbed wire Valentine. Barbed wire Valentine. If the years turn rough and dry, I'll be post and you'll be wire, and we'll hold that endless sky. Let the prairies test our names, we'll tighten every line. I'm yours in every season, your barbed wire Valentine. Morning cracked like corn across the silo's iron skin. A sparrow tugged a thread of dawn, the workday shuffled in. Old Roy checked the auger, spat a prayer into the wind. Said, kid, the gospel here is grain, and honesty we mend. The rails were humming low like hymns from pews of weathered oak. I felt the sermon rising dust in every word he spoke. He pointed where the scale house creaked and coffee tasted tin. Out here we trade our yesterdays and bank on what we've been. I stacked my hopes in barley sacks, my fears in winter wheat. Wore Monday like a denim jacket, short of one good sleep. A girl in sunburnt ponytail drove up in busted Jeep, with tickets from her granddad's farm and eyes too proud to weep. She said the hail came hard as nails, but some of it pulled through. She'd settled for the honest wait, whatever honest do. Roy winked and set the lever slow, the needle drew its line, and mercy sounded like a bell, a grain elevator chime. Sing that grain elevator gospel, where the metal meets the sky, where the prayers are brown as topsoil and the saints are dusty-eyed. Raise a hallelujah, boys, with every load we climb. We're saving souls in bushels, grain elevator time. A traveling man in Sunday boots came trying to buy us cheap. Said, consolidate your memories and fold them in a heap. Roy smiled like a thunderhead, said, son, we ain't for sale. Our worth ain't in your ledger lines, it's in these harvest tales. The girl signed off her papers, bought a donut from the tray. I asked her if she liked the hymns the belt conveyor played. She laughed and said, I learned to count on sounds that never lie, like mama's voice and steel that hums and weed against the sky. By noon the trucks were bumper long, the cafe filled with steam. Red thermos cups and tractor caps, a working people's dream. We traded miracles and jokes and first names carved in pine, and every handshake felt like faith, like bread and county time. I told that girl I wrote some songs about the things we keep. She said, make room for stubborn hope that won't go back to sleep. We watched a cloud like steeple smoke drift east across the line, and swore the wind said carry on in low impatient rhyme. Sing that grain elevated gospel where the meadow meets the sky, where the prayers are brown as topsoil and the saints are dusty-eyed. Raise a hallelujah, boys, with every load we climb. We're saving souls in bushels, grain elevator time. When winter scrapes its hymnals and the bins are ghosted cold, we'll sweep the floor of kernels like the crumbs of stories told. We'll count the blessings by the pound and weigh the ones that hurt. We'll stitch a year together with a twine of honest work. And if the banker's ledger snarls or storms come out of turn, we'll grab a broom, a wrench, a prayer, and see what we can learn. Sing that grain elevated gospel, steel cathedral, a humble choir. Let the belt and paddles preach it, let the auger tongues inspire. Raise a hallelujah, boys, with every load we climb. We're saving souls in bushels, grain elevator time. Sing that grain elevator gospel where small towns prove they shine, where mercy weighs like sunshine and the truth reads no nine. Keep the bell of kindness ringing down the county line. Amen for dust and daylight, grain elevator time. The neon hums like whiskey ghost off Highway 39. That Thunderbird Motel sign still flickers vacuum half the time. Room 7 smells like bleach and rain. The AC gasps and sighs. There's a Gideon Bible by the bed, but the words got motel eyes. I thumbed through Matthew, found your name in lipstick cherry red, right where forgive them Father bled. Between the lines I read. The night clerk said you checked out fast, suitcase tear and flame, left behind a lighter and a trail that whispered shame. I poured the silence into glass, let my heart rewind to that night we stole the jukebox key and sang Sweet Caroline. Your laughter rode a pickup's hum, the rain on chrome divine. We called it love but knew too well it was borrowed, not designed. Now the coffee tastes like penance, the mirror tells no lies, the cross above the TV hums with static lullabies, and I'm half drunk on redemption, half broke from what I owe, to a girl who kissed her sins away beneath that neon glow. Thunderbird Motel Bible, I'm kneeling by your bed, praying for a second chance with all the words you said. If love's a roadside sermon, I'm the lost one out of line, trying to find salvation in a Thunderbird sign. I saw your note on page 63. Forget, be kind. But kindness don't pay motels, and grace can't change a mind. I tried to write a hymn tonight, but all I penned was pain. Each chorus ends with thunder, rolling soft as your name. I found your earring in the sink, the chain you used to wear, a motel preacher's relics left for ghosts in midnight air. The clerk turned down the hallway lights. I stayed another day, 'cause guilt don't check out easy, and love don't fade away. Outside the rain paints halos on the cars that come and go, each one a different pilgrim chasing something they don't know. I tip my hat to Jesus in the glow of exit signs, and whispered if she ever calls, tell her I'm still paying fines. Thunderbird Motel Bible, your pages smell like sin. I folded all my prayers inside the shape she left me in. If love's a roadside sermon, I'm the lost one out of line, trying to find salvation in a Thunderbird sign. Maybe someday we'll both be saved, she in heaven, me halfway. Till then I'll light a match and see if smoke can pray instead of me. Thunderbird Motel Bible, my faith's on borrowed time. The preacher's in a motel chair, and mercy's hard to find. If love's a cheap confession, Lord, just make it mine, and guide me through the darkness of that Thunderbird sign.
Friday night, the sawdust floor's alive with boot step time. The Miller boys are pouring rye, the jukebox bleeds Hank's lines. Old men nurse their memories, young hearts test their pride, and every soul's a spark that flares before the lights collide. I used to play this place for tips back when the paint was new, before the barn got tired and love got overdue. That was when I met you there, behind the beer-stained bar. You said play something slow enough to hide a broken scar. We danced until the morning milked the stars right off the sky. And you whispered, keep the promise, don't let goodbye apply. But promises, they slip like gin from fingers slick with time. And Miller's barn became a church of what we left behind. Now I sit where we first kissed, my hat brim wet with dawn. The jukebox coughs out Conway, and half the crowd is gone. They're sweeping dreams like bottle caps into a wooden bin, and I'm still praying one more song will bring you back again. It's last call at Miller's barn. The lights are burning thin. The band's packed up salvation, and the sinners shuffle in. If love's a drink that's worth the ache, then pour it till it's gone. We'll toast to all that slipped away at Miller's barn. There's sawdust on the dance floor where the truth once learned to spin. I swear I hear your laughter drifting through the violin. You married some accountant now out east of San Antone, but every fiddler in this place knows how your name still moans. They're closing down this barn next month. The county bought the land. They'll turn it into condos, call it Golden Harvest Stand. But I'll take one last whiskey here before they tear it down, and leave a ring you gave me in that sawdust crown. It's last call at Miller's barn. The lights are burning thin. The band's packed up salvation, and the sinners shuffle in. If love's a drink that's worth the ache, then pour it till it's gone. We'll toast to all that slipped away at Miller's barn. So here's to smoke-stained rafters, to the fiddle's sweet refrain, to the ghost of every Saturday that won't come back again. When they cut those beams to splinters, I'll keep one plank of pine to build a frame around the song that once was yours and mine. It's last call at Miller's barn. The neon's fading slow. The whiskey's got religion, and the jukebox plays it low. If love's a fire worth burning, let it spark before it's gone. I'll see you in the ashes at Miller's barn.
Mama washed my shirt again. The water turned to gray. She said, son, your daddy's lungs are singing underground today. The whistle blew like gospel down the mountain's rugged spine, and every cough became a verse in that black dust line. The mine was born before the town, and we were born its kin. The sky could barely breathe sometimes, but we all tucked it in. When Mary Lou said I do beneath the miner's cross, we danced with boots still full of mud, love stronger than the loss. It's a cold serenade in the key of mountain pain, where the fiddles cry for daylight and the banjos pray for rain. You can hear our hearts still echo when the daylight fades down deep in that cold serenade. I took the graveyard shift last year to buy the baby's crib. My hands turned black, my dreams turned thin, my hope was on the fib. But every morning Mary hums that same old lullaby, the one her daddy sang before the shaft took out his sky. The preacher says that heaven's got a shaft of golden light. I hope it shines on men like him who never saw it right. When payday comes, we buy our pride with beer and violin. We drink to those who never climbed to see the sun again. It's a cold serenade in the key of mountain pain, where the fiddles cry for daylight and the banjos pray for rain. You can hear our hearts still echo when the daylight fades down deep in that cold serenade. They're shutting down the number 9. The seams have all run dry. The boys are heading out of town. The trucks like lullabies, but me, I'll stay and sing a verse where shadows never fade, for the ghosts who dance in rhythm to that cold serenade. It's a cold serenade, the harmonies, the ache of every miner's promise that the dawn won't break. And if there's heaven past this hill, I'll find it unafraid, still humming my cold serenade.
Well, I tied the knot in a roadside church with neon cross that buzzed. A preacher with a mullet said, loves what country does. The groom wore boots of borrowed shine, the bride her mama's lace. The cake sat on a tailgate truck, mosquitoes in the grate. Behind the church, a gravel lot became their sacred land, as Jimmy's cousin's tune guitars, a two-lane wedding band. The bass was just a pickup hum, the snare an oil pan ring. But Lord, that bride could two-step like a dove without a wing. They lit up sparklers for a kiss of beer can call the flame.
And laughter echoed down the road that bore their double name.
Raise a toast to love and land, to a small town ring and a two-lane band. If heaven hears a fiddle's hand, let it sound like that two-lane wedding band. There the sun went down, the vows turned songs, and stars replaced the pews. They slow danced on a borrowed rug beneath the fort tattoo. A cousin's kid on a harmonica, been heartbreaking to grace. And every dog in 3 Mile range, how time kept the pace. The bride threw off her veil and hat said, play that song again.
And thunder rolled approval for that two-lane wedding band.
The sheriff came to shut it down about 2:15, but saw the bride was barefoot and the groom said, how about you? He joined the line dance, laughing loud, forgot the badge he wore. And when he tripped, they cheered his name. Love don't enforce no law. Raise a toast to love and land, to a small town ring and a two-lane band. If heaven hears a fiddle's hand, let it sound like that two-lane wedding band. Now years have rolled that gravel thin, the church sign rusted gold. But every
June that same dirt road still hums what can't grow old.
and every heart that ever vowed where highway meets the land
Still dances to the echoes of that two-lane wedding band.
Raise a toast to love and land, to forever in a can and a callous hand. If angels play, they'll understand. They're just joining that two-lane wedding band. The county line's a strip of tar where radio static prays. A faded sign with bullet scars says, welcome, come again. I pull my truck in gravel dust, kill the engine's restless hymn. There's a little white church across the ditch where the streetlight flickers dim. I've been running from a promise I made in '95, when you wore Daisy Dukes and hope like a porch light come alive. I swore I'd bring you rings and dawns and never cross that line. But a man can lose a map he drew when the night outpaces time. Sheriff's cruiser crawls on by, gives me a two-finger wave. He knows the ghosts that pace this road and the names they couldn't say. I've got a flask of stubborn truth and the taste of yesterday, and a scrap of paper with your town and a motel where you stay. Last I heard you married well, some hardware store good man. He keeps the lies in tidy rolls, sells hammers, nails, and plans. Me, I sell a song for gas and write receipts and rhyme. I learned that mercy charges interest at the county line. This is my county line confessional, gravel in my throat, where the sinners count their mile markers and saints still miss the boat. If loving you was trespass, I'll serve the borrowed time. Forgive me, darling, I'm parked here on the county line. I told the Lord I'd head on home, forget the July kiss. When we were
were young and dumb enough to think forever fits. But every truck stop jukebox leans and sings your honeyed name, and every diesel carries sparks of our undone burning flame. So I brought the old guitar you signed in lipstick at the fair, and the Polaroid of Ferris lights tangled in your hair. I'll strum a verse till Dawn shows up with coffee on her breath, and if you hear me through that pan song, I'll own each consequence. A fox slips through the culvert like a rumor changing towns. A freight train shakes the crickets, shakes the guilt from shaky vows. I ring the church bell gently, just a thumb against the brass, not to wake the sleeping faithful, just to ask the night to pass. I ain't here to break what's mended, Lord, I ain't that blind. I just need your whisper, girl, to pardon what's behind. If your porch light flares at daybreak, I'll turn my truck around, leave a note and one last chorus in the dust upon the ground. This is my county line confessional, gravel in my throat, where the sinners count their mile markers and saints still miss the boat. If loving you was trespass, I'll serve the borrowed time. Forgive me, darling, I'm parked here on the county line. I'm not asking you to tumble what you've built with steady hands. I'm just laying down the burden of a boy who had no plan. Let the creek take what it wants, my fears, my borrowed shine. Lean your ear against the dawn, hear my heart do time. It's a county line confessional, sunrise drawing stripes, a baritone of tires hums the penance of the night. I'll cross back to my side, girl, I'll keep the dotted line, but know I left my sorry here and love still yours in rhyme. County line confessional, I whispered I'll be fine, shifted into mercy and let the road unwind.
Down where the sycamores hem the water's gentle sway, there's a flat of river pebbles where the town folks come to pray. Not with church words, not with pews, the creek keeps softer law. Where lilting three-time currents teach the aching how to draw. They call it Widow's Creek because the mill once cracked and bled, and 5 good men went under when the spring flood reared its head. Since then the widowed and the worn bring grief like wedding lace, and learn the ancient waltz of letting sorrow find its place. I carried mama's locket, there the August had passed on. The brass was scratched by years and corn, the hinge a whispered song. Beside me stood a girl in black with violets in her hair, her left hand bare as winter bark, her right hand holding air. The
fiddler from the diner came, he always somehow knows. He rosined up his bow with dust the porch boards kindly loaned. He played a tune the creek had taught in undertones and foam, and all at once the water rose and asked our boots to roam. Spin me round at Widow's Creek, in time that doesn't break, where memory leads and mercy learns the steps the lonely take. We'll waltz with what we couldn't keep, with names we dare not speak. 1, 2, 3, release with me the Widow's Creek Waltz Suite. The girl said name was Thaddeus, he shipped last spring for rigs. Said oil turns luck to butter if you churn the right big gigs. Her voice was like a sparrow, brave enough to share the sky. She tucked the violets tighter and she looked me in the eye. I said my old man coughed himself to heaven's lumberyard. He taught this step you lead with love when the world is leaning hard. We took a breath, the fiddler grinned, the water tapped its beat, and shadows of our mothers shushed the pebbles at our feet. 3 turns in, the weight grew light, the kind that knows it's hell, not safe from what already was, but shown a gentler shelf. A heron stitched the banks with thread of patience, pale and long, and dragonflies like metronomes kept time to creek-born song. We traded partners with the wind, we bowed to cedar knees. We let the ghost who loved us first slip past like summer leaves. And when the final cadence fell like dew on clover rough, our hands let go of nothing, and yet somehow let enough. Spin me round at Widow's Creek, in time that doesn't break, where memory leads and mercy learns the steps the lonely take. We'll waltz with what we couldn't keep, with names we dare not speak. 1, 2, 3, release with me the Widow's Creek Waltz Suite. No preacher's book, no doctor's bill can mend the world's long rip, but water knows a seamstress' art and how it hems the lips. So when you're stitched by midnight's hands and morning feels too steep, come dance where widows teach the brave how grief and grace can meet. Spin once more at Widow's Creek, let violets crown the stream, let fiddles find the spaces where the silence used to scream. We'll turn until the sorrow hums in harmony, not heat. 1, 2, 3, be free with me, Widow's Creek Waltz Suite. And as the sycamores applaud and herons fold their wings, we'll leave our footprints in the silt, a hymn the water sings. They laid him out in denim blue, with Sunday starch and dust, a hat brim folded just so right, a buckle orange with rust. The church smelled like the saddle shop, like oil and leather tears, and boots lined up in rows of grief from 20 county years. They said he broke a bronc at 12 and roped his first at 9, and kissed a widow's wrangled hand and made her feel like time. He didn't die in arenas bright, no pyro smoke or screams, just quietly beside the barn beneath the cottonwoods green. His spurs were silver wedding bells that rang through cattle rain. Their old teeth had tasted dust that only legends name. They set them on the casket lip like halos forged for men who chose the honest stake of dawn and saddled it again. The preacher talked of Bethlehem, of shepherd stars and straw, and how a stable witnessed first the shape of holy awe. We nodded like we knew it well, that low and drafty hymn. How greatness wears a barn smell coat and lives where chores begin. Ring those silver spurs like prayer against the wooden wind. Let the raw sing a requiem for miles he did not end. If heaven holds a pasture wide, then show him to the rim, and let the gate swing open for a silver spur requiem. His daughter stood, she looked like him, the laugh line, stubborn chin. Said daddy loved the quiet ones, tall horses, short pretense. She told how once a winter storm had starved the barn of light. He wore a lantern on his heart and fed the calves all night. A bronc bit star rode shotgun on his every coffee cup. He liked his music pedal steel and kept the volume up. He never chased a richer zip, he measured wealth by hands, by how a foal could find your breath and trust your steady plans. The pallbearers were neighbors' sons who learned to throw a loop. They trembled like the fencing wind, but held that sacred stoop. We followed him to Pasture Hill, where he had fixed the gate, and saw the sky put on its best, big, solemn, wide and straight. We heard a single meadowlark and then a dozen more, like angels with a prairie twang who knew which man they bore. And when the last clod thudded home, a silence took the reins, the kind that turns a heartbreak scream into a faithful plain. Ring those silver spurs like prayer against the wooden wind. Let the rouse sing a requiem for miles he did not end. If heaven holds a pasture wide, then show him to the rim, and let the gate swing open for a silver spur requiem. Some men leave a stack of bills, a trailer full of schemes. He left us callous, gentle palms and uncomplaining dreams. He taught the colts and grandsons both to bow before the chore. The West is kept by quiet hands, not those who beg for more. So ring those silver spurs once more, let echo find the fold, let pedal steel lift up his name like sunlight forged in gold. If heaven's fence needs mending, Lord, then set him limb to limb. We'll hear the rowels laughing in that silver spur requiem. And when we ride our own last ridge, low sun on weathered brim, we'll tip our hats and follow where his quiet trail grows thin. The trooper said he clocked me fast outside of San Marcos. Said, son, your story better bloom before this ticket costs. I smiled and tipped my hat brim low. Said, sir, I've got a wife. I drove like spring was running out, a Bluebonnet Alibi. See, she called from down near Kerrville, where the river learns to bend. Said, if you still mean what you said, then now's the time to mend. Her voice was like a thunderhead about to bless the drive. I hit the gas like grace itself and chased a cobalt sky. I told the trooper there's a field my granddad taught me praise, where flowers write apologies across the Texas plains, where boys who run too hard too long can finally slow and try to read the script. The heart forgot, those bluebonnets don't lie. He scratched his chin and checked the date, the pollen on my hood. He saw the jar of ring screws, a box of cedar wood. He said, you building something, son? I said, a porch for two, a place where she can set her coffee, watch forever bloom. I've got a Bluebonnet alibi, sir, let me make it right. I'm racing spring to tell a girl I'll choose her every night. If mercy's got a speed limit, I'll coast and test the sky. But don't you kill the courage of a Bluebonnet alibi. He asked me why I waited years to drive this truth back home. I said, because a stubborn man can mistake dust for stone. I left her once for oil field pay and neon smudged applause, but money never folded right when stacked against our cause. So here I am with ringing plans and boards I milled myself to build a porch of reckonings and plant a little wealth. A flower bed of second chances trimmed in cedar ties, and words like staying sorry laid in patience, steady lines. The trooper thought of something, then his gaze went soft and far, like he could see a roadside church and kids in back a car. He took his pen and tapped it twice, and then he cracked a grin. Said, son, if you were lying, that's the best I've heard in 10. He wrote a warning, not a fine. Said, go, but drive like love, not like a man who outruns shame, but one who tends enough. I nodded, turned the key to hope, and kept the needle shy. Let acres of apology keep rising to the sky. I've got a Bluebonnet alibi, sir, let me make it right. I'm racing spring to tell a girl I'll choose her every night. If mercy's got a speed limit, I'll coast and test the sky. But don't you kill the courage of a Bluebonnet alibi. When I reached that field, she stood in jeans and morning wind, her hair a map of all the miles I'd lost and meant to mend. I set the cedar boards and ring on tailgate, breathe the vow. I'll build this porch one patient day at a time, starting now. We walked the rows of cobalt bloom, the highway humming kind, and I confessed each restless year to petals, turf, and time. She slipped that ring like May on March and whispered, so do I. Forgiveness wore a Texas blue, my Bluebonnet alibi. Now every spring we drive out slow where miles of mercy rise, and teach our kids the words we learned. Go home, be brave, be kind.
kept it on the mantle next to Grandpa's wedding band. That old Stetson hat with a sweat-stained band and a buckle etched by hand. She dusted every Sunday night when supper grace was said, and whisper like he still sat close, "Good night, old hard luck head." Daddy rode the wheat trucks west through hail and oil and time. Said work's a hymn without the notes, just rhythm, dust, and spine. When I was 6, he tipped that brim and crowned me for a laugh. Said, "Boy, one day you'll earn this hat, but not the weight it has." The years blew by like Kansas storms that never learned to rest. The fields turned for an under sky that never second-guessed. Letters came like tumbleweeds, 3 stamps and diesel smell. He'd write, "The road keeps talking, son, I'm listening, doing well." Then one November, just to knock a stranger by the rail, a folded flag, a county pin, and eyes like winter pale. Mama didn't cry at first, she just stood quiet and straight, then brushed that hat like morning sun could wipe away his fate. There's dust on Daddy's Stetson from the road he couldn't stay, from the dreams he left in ditches halfway down the USA. And every time I wear that brim, the wind still sounds the same, like the ghost of diesel engines whispering my name. I tried to fight to call myself, swore fields were good enough, but dirt don't drown a drifter's blood, and quiet ain't that tough. So I bought an old F-100 and chased what he once knew, honky-tonks and midnight shifts and neon faith too true. Met a girl in Abilene who danced like open flame, said you carry miles inside your eyes and someone else's name. I told her about the mantel shelf, the dust, the brim, the band. She kissed me once, said, "Go on home, I think I understand." I made it back by harvest moon, Mama's hair was snow. She said, "Your daddy's hat's been waiting, Lord, you took it slow." I placed it on and caught his scent, tobacco, sweat, and rain, felt every unkept promise press gentle through the grain. Now when I'm in the fence line or stack the autumn corn, that hat shades all my reckonings, both borrowed and reborn. I talk to him through thunder now and fields begin to spin. He answers through the tractor hum, "Boy, just dig back in." There's dust on Daddy's Stetson from the road he couldn't stay, from the dreams he left in ditches halfway down the USA. And every time I wear that brim, the wind still sounds the same, like the